Hey guys, what's up and welcome to the channel, I'm the Shotgun Shogun, and today I am joined by Minty3K, and we're going to be going over the second part of the Shotgun Shogun September Showdown Legendary Bracket number 2. You already saw the first one. If you haven't, pause this video right now, go watch it or watch it afterwards. I really don't care what order you do it in, because I'm not your real dad, because you haven't signed up for that tier on Patreon yet. But regardless, you do you. But we're going to be going over the second part of the bracket. I brought Minty in mostly because the both of us have probably fought the vast majority of these people at one point or another. Not only that, but I just wanted to bring Minty in and talk to him after having him in the Champions Cup, mostly because he didn't move on to the next part of the tournament. Otherwise, I would have had to bring somebody else in. So, Minty, thank you for coming over and discussing some of these units on these players in this next part of the tournament. How did you like the first tournament, the Champions Cup? Was it real sweaty? Were you sweating real hard?
So with the Champions Cup, when it came to some of the players, like the guy who I fought, Howie, I didn't know who he was at all. So going into it, I kind of didn't respect him. And in my match, I did go first. I drafted Broman. Broman went first, and he didn't work. And yes. I died immediately to a Kayron basket proc. So that's how my
RNG, right? RNG. No, and that's one of the things that I actually thought was interesting about the Champions Cup, right? Was that there were some players that a lot of people didn't know about. But the players that we have here, everybody who plays RTA even remotely seriously knows who these players are. The first one is going to be Suck. And I fought Suck a lot during preseason. Suck was being very, very sweaty preseason wise, comes from Deviant. He was rank 7. Actually, there were a handful of them that were in rank 7 at the end of the season. I mean, we're talking top 10 legend player here. His favorite pick, which he actually changed after we started doing the initial videos, was changed to "Don't expose me, bro." Even though, like we said, anybody who knows these players and have gone up against them kind of knows what they go into. He's most known for Rylet not evading, which is every Rylet that ever exists. Any Rylet owner will tell you from both of our experience that evasion is a lie. Same with anti-crit, same with counterattack when you need it, same with literally everything in this game. Variable playstyle. Now, I have gone, like I said, I have gone up against Suck quite a few times. Suck most known for yielding to me before I can yield or before he beats me, so that I feel bad because he threw the match, and then I go, next time I'm gonna throw the match before you can throw the match. I owe him like 4 matches worth of points at this point, but typically plays a lot of bruisers. What is your experience with the Suck?
Yeah, whenever I see him drafting stuff, it's always bruiser stuff, right? Like he has very strong bruisers in general. Like, I'm scared of a lot of his bruiser units just because like a lot of them are fast, and any sort of damage bruisers are fast and do a lot of damage, and they just last a long time too. So just in general, fighting him is always going to be super sweaty, and yeah, you just got to prepare for the long fight against him.
Yeah, for sure. And I think one of the things that a lot of people don't really think about when they go up to like higher legend level players when it comes to bruisers, right, is when you think bruiser player, you think like, oh, we're going to like frenzy 115. This is going to be forever. This bruiser probably isn't going to put out much damage. The thing with Suck is that you're right. His bruisers are not only thick, quick, but they hit like a brick, dude. I know I've gotten just dumpstered by his fighter Maya before, and you're just like, you know what, this will be pretty okay. I can probably take this hit, and you actually can't. That's a lie. You're like, wow, that was a lot of damage. That sweet. And then you just Ross laugh a little bit because your actual tank that it does take damage just got absolutely dumpstered. But very super strong player. You don't get to top 10 legend last season without being very strong, especially like at the very end, right? Because it was so sweaty and so fast paced that people were just like losing rank like crazy. But definitely a super fun person to go up against. Next person though is probably one of my favorites, and this is somebody I talk about a lot when it comes to really interesting drafts, and this is Mevlin. I remember the first time that I ever ran into Mevlin. He's actually known for his Blaze Dingo as well as his ML Ken and his Lilius Cleaves. The first time I let the Blaze Dingo through and I got just Thanos snapped. The second time I fought him, I was like, oh, this won't be too bad. Let him have Lilius and ML Ken. Now, usually you think ML Ken gonna be about 110, 115 speed. Not Mevlin. Mevlin's ML Ken is like 200 something. High crit, just defense breaks everything, and then follows up with the Lilius Cleave with like 350 crit damage. So after that, I had to go, do I ban Lilius? Or do I ban ML Ken? Or do I ban Blaze Dingo? It was always something with Mevlin. And he's also one of those players that super variable when he drafts. Like whatever you draft, it feels like he has an answer to it. I don't know if you fight him very often. You probably just outspeed him because you actually have speed gear. For me, it's a little bit different, right? Because I'm just kind of like, well, time to tank down, and I think everybody, I think everybody knows that, so they're just like, oh, I can abuse Shogun with just a little bit of speed. But what's your experiences with Mevlin?
So with Mevlin, this season I fought him twice already. Just climbing ladder. Both times I've won. But first time I fought him was actually this season, because before I didn't really push for legend at all. I just maintained champion rank, like a high rank there. So I knew already that he was the guy who does Blingo, Lilius, Emilken, all that weird cleave stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I already knew going into it, I'm just going to try outspeeding him. And if I got the outspeed, then I'm probably going to win because he doesn't draft tanky or anything, right? So I just go and outspeed, and that's how it goes for me. Because I know his units hurt whenever I see him get like the draft he wants. So usually for me personally, I ban the Lilius as my go-to.
That's actually was my my ban as well, because I knew that I could potentially deal with the other ones, but the Lilius Cleave would just wipe my entire team, right? So
yeah, exactly.
That was kind of how I ended up like dealing with him. But the thing is, a lot of these players have those pocket picks for tournaments, right?
Yeah.
You know, and that's something I've brought up before with like Deity and stuff like that, is it's like the units that you see in a tournament aren't necessarily the units that you'll see them picking on the ladder, because a lot of times meta plays aren't what is going to win you a tournament match, because everybody knows how to fight a meta. Everybody knows how to fight you if you're a legend player for the most part, unless you just severely outgear them like some of the people that are in this, you know. But like people who just pick out like really random stuff, which we'll go into in the next person, who is Snow X from Fleet, placed in champ, but picks Rose, likes to Fleet cheat cleave, right? The bruiser cleave. So I remember when Blue Rose first like got kind of prevalent in tournament scenes for that bruiser cleave. Snow does it really, really well. Actually, most of the fleet guys are into the blue rose bruiser cleave. So it'll be interesting to see if Mevlin can pull out anything like that. But going into talking about Snow is actually somebody that I didn't really fight too often in latter last season. Now I know that Snow ended up I think it's somewhere in Champ, but definitely I know that when I have fought Snow and when I've seen Snow play in other tournaments, it's a lot of bruiser cleave. S3 times 4 he indicates in his primary play style. So that's probably like a 280 blue rose into a Charles, into an Alencia, into an ML Tywin, probably. Those are the ones that I hate fighting the most. But your experiences with Snow?
So I don't believe that I've actually fought Snow. I just know of him and I've seen his matches and tournaments previously. So I just know that he does love his Rose Cleave because Fleet. But yeah, Snow is actually one of the guys that I've gone to for research for myself for when doing Rose Cleave because it works out for him pretty well in the tournaments.
Yeah.
So he's one of the guys that I go to when reviewing matches. So
yeah. One of the things that I like about Rose Bruiser Cleave too is that typically the units that you put in with Rose Cleave are extra thick as well, right? So whatever's left after you have devastated them with all of your other units, probably not going to come through and kill like a 22k Alencia with defense buff. Right, you know, or the FCC shield. I've seen that variation as well. So we'll see if Fleet has been hitting the lab at all, because I mean, we do have a lot of Fleet players in here. We can't see nothing but Bruiser Cleave the entire tournament. But speaking of, we're going to go into Claire, who is up next, yet another Fleet player. Claire ended up in Legend 60. Favorite go-to pick apparently is anything, which I don't think that that's actually a favorite. You can't just pick anything as your favorite. You gotta have one Claire. Most known for being the antagonist of Kaz's Cafe Tourney V2 versus the incredible Snow X. So right out the gate, Claire is gonna have to go up against Snow X, who they were the antagonist of. It's going to be very interesting. Playstyle's variable as well, not really giving us a whole lot of information here, but it's always interesting seeing matches amongst guild members, right? Because a lot of times they know exactly how the other person plays, right? So it's interesting to see those matches in the drafts, because a lot of times you're going to see that just really obscure ban, right? Somebody's going to be like, oh, I'm going to ban Judith, just because you know that person has like some ridiculous Judith, right? Have you ever fought Claire?
I have not. I've only seen like a couple of the matches that Claire has done before during the season. I don't know what Claire is up to now because I haven't seen Claire on the ladder at all.
I have not either. I actually haven't seen too many of these people on the ladder. I did fight, like I said, I fought Suck during preseason, but I haven't really ran into them yet this season. Now I do know that Suck is actually number 1 right now.
Yeah,
but
Suck is on the grind.
Yeah, definitely super on the grind. But a lot of the other people, I feel like as soon as they opened up the mock battle rooms, right, they made it so that it was a bit easier to just practice, right? You could just go into a room and practice against somebody. You didn't have to risk your points. You didn't have to risk any of that stuff. So a lot more people are just kind of keeping their strats secret until the very end. This is something we talked about on like a Kaz podcast at one point, is just kind of being that unknown entity in a tournament or in the ladder is just super huge because people don't know how to draft against you. Unfortunately for Claire is going to have to go up against a bunch of other fleet players, so they're probably going to know what Claire is going to be bringing out. So as somebody who I don't know what they are going to be drafting, it'll be interesting to see what they draft against Snow. But the next person, and I have to read out the whole thing specifically because they changed it and asked if it was like too late to change this whole thing, is going to be Light. And Light is another fleet player. That's right. This is just a whole fleet tournament. Just get ready because we got a lot of fleet players in this one. RTA rank last season was rank legend 38. Favorite go-to pick is Dizzy. And I remember the first time that I ran up against Light, that Dizzy is insane. Most known for being the original Rose cheat fleet cleaver. It really should be named after me. Leader of the Rose Gang. Their followers include Joseph Joestar, Godless, who I would just go into the whole Godless copy pasta meme right here, but we're not going to. Snow X and more. So Snow X, we already know, is a member of the Rose Gang. So we have like absolute monster cleaver. They're also known for speed running unranked to legend in less than 5 hours in preseason, but preseason, like, come on, nobody took that seriously. I mean, I did a little bit, but regardless, yeah, Light's Dizzy is just absolutely insane. When I saw Joseph Joestar in the Champions Cup, really reminded me of the Rose Cleave that Light does with the rage set Dizzy that just comes through. And you're like, oh, it's a Dizzy. How bad is this going to be? And then all of a sudden Dizzy S3s and S2s, and then your entire team is gone. It is actually amazing to watch. Not only that, but then after the Dizzy S3s, you just, whatever's left over is debuffed and just debilitated. And the first time that I ran into that, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. DPS Dizzy is a thing. I should go see if I can build a DPS Dizzy. I couldn't. I don't have the gear for it at the moment. But it is actually just really disgusting to watch. This whole tournament, Minty, is just going to be nothing but Rose Cleave. It's going to be who can first pick Rose or ban Rose. That's really what I think that this whole tournament is going to end up being.
Yeah, I think like with these Rose Cleavers, the more units that they have built, like if they know the other player and they both Rose Cleave, whoever has more bruisers built just better, they might just ban out the Rose, honestly.
I mean, I bet absolutely would.
I bet most of these guys that do the Rose Cleave, they know everyone else who does Rose Cleave. I probably bet they know their speeds too.
Oh,
so
I'm sure.
It's gonna be very scary if they both try to do some sort of cleave.
If they try to like counter cleave each other with bruisers, so it's like one person picks Valencia, the other person picks Charles. You know, one person picks Tywin, the other person picks I don't know. That's usually who I cleave with. Red Charlotte. That's actually good.
True, yeah.
Because she does so much damage. Actually, kind of crazy to put in with that whole cleave team. But yeah, no, you're right. Like everybody knows everybody else's speeds when it comes to fleet. So it'll be interesting to see, like we were saying with Claire, is if they change that up right beforehand just to throw each other off. But speaking of fleet, I told you guys to get ready because next up is going to be Kilo 408. This is also another fleet member. I think actually they all signed up at different times and then the seeding just put them together, right? But Kilo has to go up against Light. Now, Kilo Actually, rank 6 legend. This is actually above the likes of Nom Nom Bunny. I believe Suck last season showed me the little screenshot of him just being right above everybody. The number 3 non-Moon Rune name on the legend ladder. So really big. I mean, just this bracket alone has a lot of just straight up top 10 legend RTA players, which is going to be really huge. Best favorite go-to pick is Charles. Personally, I don't like Charles. I don't like picking Charles or going up against Charles because everybody else's Charles is really hyped and amped up to just pop off on my entire team. Nonstop also doesn't know what elemental disadvantage is. My Charles, on the other hand, is an old man who can't see anything, and whenever anybody else gets hit, or even himself, he just kind of stands there and goes, that sucks. I'm not going to do anything. S1 forgets how to S2. Everyone else is Charles. Just an absolute mad lad. So maybe Kilo is just a gambler. Maybe he found the way to unlock the broken Charles. But apparently Kilo is most known for being the biggest simp in Fleet. He also indicates Cindy from Momenti. Please notice Kilo. If Kilo wins this, Kilo's doing this for you. Simp Central. I feel like maybe somebody got onto his Discord account and filled out the questionnaire for him. But otherwise, hey, you know what? Good for you. And Cindy, you're a special lady to this man right here. But variable playstyle. Picks Charles, you're going to assume Bruiser. Anytime I see Fleet in the name anywhere, I just assume Bruiser. Because I think that's all that guild knows how to do, right? For the most part. I don't know. I think I may have fought Kilo one time previously, but not somebody who I ran into very often. I don't know if they played like a lot or not, or I just didn't run into them. I know that like last season, some legend players I just hit non-stop. Like we would just fight all the time. Like I would run into Jinx a lot. I would run into Suey Stark every so often, you know, Mevlin, other people. Didn't really run into Kilo too often. I mean, I'm sure that if I did, he probably dumpstered me because I mean he's number 6, right? But what about you? Have you ever ran into him before?
I have not, but I'm assuming if he likes Charles, like he like as you said, he's about that bruiser life, right?
Right.
And getting rank 6 is super hard, right?
Yeah.
Like the point increase every hour. On the last day, people were playing for like almost the entire day on the last season.
I was.
So getting rank 6 is crazy. Getting any spot in top 10. Now, besides like Nam, because Nam was like didn't play at all, but you know Nam's Nam, so we'll disregard him.
Although Nam rank 7, Kilo was actually above Nam.
Yeah, Kilo just might be another god. I actually haven't seen any of him. So
see, and that's the thing. We don't know. We don't know. That could be the most godlike Charles. Just one shots DNs through anti-crit off just an S1. We'll see. But I'm personally excited to see anybody who can get to, you know, above top 10. Like that takes some serious gear as well as skill and just good decision making, which is why I'm not up there. Because bad decision making. But speaking of somebody interesting is going to be X Hans next. He is from Miasma, so we're breaking the fleet streak right here. He was champion last season, but I know that Hans was in and out of Legend a lot. Hans played a ton, and Hans plays a very interesting Semi-toxic control cleave. Most known for, or his best pick, or his go-to pick, is Silverblade Araminta. He was running a lot of Silverblade Araminta alongside of like Flitica Cerise and Spez. He tried to do Spez for a little while. I went into him a lot. We got to know each other's drafts and stuff like that. So we would trade wins every so often, right? He would come back with like something random and brand new. I would just drop Eaton again. Sometimes he would beat it. Sometimes he wouldn't. I would usually just rely on 15%ing, just please 15%, let me win this match. But Han's very versatile player, really does like the CC cleave, which is good because I love watching CC cleave pop off against bruiser teams. That's why Cafe Kaz is probably one of like my favorite control players to watch in the game, because when you just watch somebody not let somebody else play the game, it is just super fun to watch. And I know personally from not being able to play the game when I get outsped by Hans that it's not fun for me, but I'm sure that if anybody was watching it, they would probably be having fun, and I'm sure he was having fun as well. And I know you've had to have gone up against Hans. That dude played just a massive amount of games.
Yeah, I've played against Hans for and during the season, so against him, like, since he does this cleave CC sort of comp, it's very annoying to play against once you get locked down, right? Because as Shogun said, it turns into a single player game. So just outspeeding him is the way to go for me personally, unless you're super tanky. That's how I've won against him. I just go for the outspeed, and usually it works. So that's how I deal with him.
I just really need to get more speed gear. That's the way it sounds. That's these people everybody that I have problems with, Minty's just like, oh, I just outspeed him. It's just not a big deal. Just outspeed him. Just speed or leave, dude. Int sprint or int, just cleave and leave.
Exactly.
I ain't got time for these sweaty, frenzy 400 matches. Like we're not doing that. But I do actually think that it'll be interesting to see if he can bring what he can bring against some of these players. Like I said, I know that he was in and out of Legend a lot last season. We would trade matches up there as well. But he is up against Suey Stark, and this is going to be a real rough start for him because Suey's coming from life. Legend rank 5. Now, we were talking about how Kilo placed 6 above like a lot of other really, really good players. Suey Stark was right above Kilo. Rank 5, that's top 5 in the world. The number 2 non-Moonrune name. Favorite go-to pick, ML Tywin. Most known for ML Tywin. Plays bruisers. Also known for being extra toxic because ML Tywin is toxic. Why did they give him those buffs? I don't know. Went from the worst unit to the most OP unit whatsoever. Now, I have fought Suey Stark before. I do believe I fought Suey in the preseason, maybe. I believe he runs a high effectiveness ML Tywin, which is actually one of the worst ML Tywins to go against because you're like, oh, this will be fine. My DJ Basar has 300 effect resist. It'll be fine, right? No, actually, that's the exact opposite of fine. And it's also quick, so it's going to be cycling that S3 non-stop. This is a little bit different than like the Tatsuni ML Tywin that we saw like really early on, where it was like just real high damage, counterattack Elbrus. I have noticed a lot of higher Legend players are switching over to that just very fast control ML Tywin. And it's interesting because it does fit into a control bruiser comp, which again are some of my favorite ones to run, just because even if they do slip out a little bit, you still have that bulk, that heft to make up for anything and then come back through. So Hans is going up against probably one of the stronger players immediately out of the gate. Now, as an ML Tywin picker, that kind of hurts the CC Cleave, right? Because, I mean, yeah, but what do you think about this matchup?
I think this is probably one of the worst guys that Hans could have gone against, because Suey eats up these Cleave CC comps, honestly. All of his units, super tanky, fast. He always knows what to draft, right? He's rank 5. Come on.
Right.
Like, I've tried to Cleave CC him in the past myself. It does not work. It does not go well for me. I try to do it, but it just doesn't go well. So it's looking pretty bad for Hans, but you never know. Hans could get lucky artifact procs, you know, little attacks, all that stuff. So don't count him out, but
oh no,
I don't count bad. It does
anybody. I don't count anybody in this out, because it's actually kind of crazy, like the skill level that all of these players are at. Obviously they didn't get to where they were and, you know, get into the tournament by, you know, luck sacking a lot, right? So the problem is, though, first round, best of one. Could potentially see some luck sack turnarounds. You also have the negative side of RNG, right? Where maybe you get, you know, some dual attacks that just wipe your whole team with a Spectre Tenebria, right? Or something along those lines. But second part of the bracket, we have just insane high level players. I've seen a lot of people that have already been like, man, we're just going to see a bunch of, you know, sleepy resident sleeper, take a nap, go get your pillow.
These players know.
Metas. Yeah, that's the thing, is I don't like, they know, and I think that even if they start drafting like heavy sustain, right, it's not going to be a match for the ages. You know, it's not going to be a 20-30 minute match. I think that they're going to be a very aggressive, because I think actually that is the kind of the counter to like that extended sustain bruiser, is going more of an aggressive bruiser. You either just dumpster him real quick, or, well, it was going to be over anyways, right? So I still think we're just going to see a lot of blue rose bans.
Yeah, all these matches, like in each of these matches for this bracket, for the second part, there's a cleaver in each of these matches.
Yep.
Like Mevlin, Snow, Light, Hans, they all love their cleave and control bruiser stuff. So
yeah,
these will go by pretty quickly, most likely. Not any Frenzy 9 fights.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually from the Champions Cup too. That was something that we saw that I think a lot of people didn't expect, was just a lot of just like cleave, just fast matches. It's just kind of like, oh, and that match is done. Like, oh, okay, well, I guess we'll go on to the next match. I was going to give you guys a couple of minutes, but that was over very fast. But yeah, no, second bracket's going to be pretty stacked. Third and fourth bracket will be coming out shortly as well. Minty, again, wanted to thank you for coming on and talking about these guys. We're going to have more information about them, obviously, after the tournament. So I'm looking forward to seeing what the picks are. Maybe Minty might be coming back after the tournament for the analysis podcast if you're interested.
Oh, I would be 100% down.
Awesome. That's literally just something I came up with. I'm like, hey, we're going to do this afterwards. I'll just ask you now instead of later.
Sure,
so that way,
not?
If you're on the video saying yes, you can't turn me down afterwards.
Okay. Yeah, you got me there. Okay.
Right. But anyways, guys, that's it for me. You can follow all of Minty's stuff down in the descriptions. And stay tuned for more bracket information. The tournament will be the 19th and the 20th. The matches will start at 2 p.m. Eastern, but we will be starting about an hour early to talk over a lot of the information that we've been putting out on the brackets, who we're going to be thinking about, you know, who's going to be winning, stuff like that. So make sure you stop over. There will be giveaways for chat. $1,000 is up on the line. But if you are new here, hit the subscribe button, smash the bell notification if you want. want to, and do all those other things that YouTubers tell you to do. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Take it easy, homies. Peace.
Crack it.